Another test on this audio and see if this will help out the situation at hand. Having some technical issues. Let everybody get in here first. Is this it? Have we fixed it? You know? All right. All right, cool. So now we can continue, right? Put that verb on there for that. All right. Cool. All right, doing much better on the sound thing. Boy, that really sucks the energy out of the room, right? It's just like, all right, cruising, not cruising, not cruising. I want to talk about pentatonics here today, and how you can use them to expand your playing. And this is the thing that it could be kind of clickbaity, but I really believe that pentatonics glue everything together. I mean, it's just such a overused and not overtly maximized. Like, there's a lot of things that I've been kind of getting into that are pentatonic based ideas that sound way more advanced than what they are. I've been kind of feeling some of this thing where turn off that verb. Get that verb out of there, it'll be better. So, like, seeing things in a diagonal point of view. Little less drive and compression here. So when you talk about seeing these things diagonally, it all really kind of starts with, do you know your scales up and down each string set individually? Okay, and this sounds like boring town. Sounds like not fun stuff. But it's actually really amazing because you can start seeing where Eric gets his ideas for like that Venus Isle stuff. You know, those kind of sounds, right? Let's just move up and down the neck of the guitar with the key of C minor, because that's just what I'm playing in, because that's what Venus Isle's in. And if we were to take that in a pentatonic standpoint, it would just look like this. That's just on the high string. If we would continue that up, now we could do that on the string below it, right? And of course, the one below that. And you can start seeing these little clusters start finding their ways. Do that on every string. Just finding the pentatonic scale up each string. Now slowly start incorporating two strings into it, okay? Now this is counterproductive in a lot of ways if you're approaching it like this. That's just like laying out the guitar in a way that doesn't sound as musical as looking at it from... It's amazing how much more musical it gets when you just start looking at the intervallic structure. And this overlaps into ear training in a lot of ways. And when you're training your ear to understand where the root is, maybe the root is that C, but I can hear what the 7 is going to sound like against that 7 to 5. And then 4 minor third, 4 minor third, 5, 4. Now I'm going to start widening that approach to cover multiple string sets. And again, I'm not really thinking of it like this. I don't really think of it like that. I'm kind of seeing it as root, minor third, root, minor third, root, minor third. And I start seeing a diagonal line in ascension from thirds. That's a bit like playing the same thing in 3 octaves on a piano, okay? And now I can start looking at phrasing as the priority and getting the most out of the pentatonic scale, ceasing to look at it as something that's trivial that sounds like this. There's nothing wrong with that. This is cool stuff, right? Whatever. That's all good. And it's also not something that needs to be looked at as kind of the 70s thing, right? You can really get into the Sean Lane EJ stuff when you start expanding this thing out. So that's how I'm kind of getting through that stuff without breaking my brain. It's like that's how I'm navigating it without it like overloading and without it sounding too trivial. Let's take that again, looking at root, 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 minor third. And we can start hearing the chords from it. Like when you see that minor third sound, right? Sounds real major like that. Oh, sorry. Now let's start increasing the difficulty by looking at some hybrid techniques. That allows some wider jumping around. You're leaving out notes. That's left out. Those kind of things start spiraling. Right? Now we're going to move back into it. Right? That's just kind of one way that I like to approach pentatonics to add some sauce to my playing, right? And if I've got a double time fill, that's like totally EJ stuff, totally Sean stuff, and it's something I've incorporated a lot into my playing. You know, and when you have keys that aren't C minor, like if you're playing an E, you start incorporating those rock licks and those flat fives. Now you have this. It's all in that kind of thing. You could do it the other direction too, which is really nice. And when you have one note starting it instead of two notes on a string, right? The common thing is to have two notes on a string, which is like you have one note, right? right, so let's play that. That's all in just one position. Sounds really nice, right? Again, like let me slow that down and play that slow. If I have a grouping that has 5 notes, let's take, I don't know, not the most obvious position. This is all around kind of the minor pentatonic thing. These things inadvertently shift to major just by thinking about the relative major. So for some of you advanced players, this is going to be way below your pay grade. For some of you beginners, this might stick with you. When you're in a key and you're in the major key and you're trying to find the minor pentatonic that's going to work over that major key. In rock music, G minor pentatonic sounds totally bitchin' over G major. But in other styles of music, you're going to want E minor pentatonic over top of G major because E minor is the 6th. So you have G, A, B, C, D, E, the 6th. So the major scale, major chord that you're on, the major key, if you count up 6 from that, that now is the minor scale that you can use against your major chord, right? It's your relative minor. So if I play E minor sounding pentatonics with no reference point, it's going to sound like E. Again. Now, if I have a reference point of G, now we have this really beautiful major sound. Sorry. Definitely turns into that thing in a hurry, which is cool. Now let me show you how some of this is going to work on a country kind of sound. So the same type of principle works in country too, and jazz and everything, right? Like all of that stuff. So let's take the key of G. Now country stuff, you can start seeing this major pentatonic in this classic motion. You guys probably play that a lot without realizing what the exact shape is. You're outlining the triad. It's the G major triad. So if you're looking at it, don't look necessarily at memorizing the shape as it applies to that area of the fretboard. Think about it as a grip that could be modular, and you can move that. So if I have the starting note of a key that nobody likes to play in, which is E flat, we could put that E flat down here in the root and play the same thing. There it is again. So you can put it anywhere. Now the next part of this pentatonic thing would be moving the pentatonic into adding some tones like maybe the 6, right? So let's put a let's take a minor pentatonic, the G minor pentatonic. We're going to play in G. This would be common in bluegrass. Bluegrass got a lot of this sound where it's like... There's that kind of sound. That kind of thing. So now that's just blowing over G minor pentatonic in the key of G major, and then finishing it off with the major, minor major. But what if we add this major 6 sound? Now let me slow that down and show you the same kind of pentatonic things. Look, here's your basic starting point. Now let's add in the 6. You start hearing a lot of this C triad, C over G. See how that's working? See how I'm adding and I'm adding. Notice that the D is not just buried to the first finger like a capo. I'm switching between this D and the one that's right here. It's still pentatonic. It is. I'm still seeing this framework. Still seeing pentatonic there. And notice that a lot of that cleanliness and that cascading thing kind of comes from the precision of the execution of the notes, more so than just layering on 6,000 pounds of distortion, right? Like that's not going to make it do that waterfall thing so much as how you're approaching the notes with alternate picking. One of the things that's really important to me is if I have 2 notes on a string before I lead it up, I'm going to lead with an upstroke. Right? If I lead it up with a single note by itself, I'm going to lead it with a downstroke. And these licks, they sound fast. They're, it takes a little time to get them under your fingers, which is okay. But more importantly, they're all just pentatonics. I'm just blending the areas of the necks together instead of trying to play everything in an area that I know and then unplugging and disengaging and re-engaging in another area that I know. So if I'm really familiar with this area, and I'm really familiar with this area, but connecting them is kind of not great for me, I'm going to look at how I can go and move this into the next position and maintain the target note of that G, that same root. I'm just going to change the side of my hand that I'm playing on. See what I mean? Like the side, which side of the hand? Versus yeah, like now I'm playing from this is anchored in. Now it's going to be this is anchored in. Sorry, I suck. And it's not the easiest tone to play on, right? So it's pushing me to have really good articulation. It's pushing me to have good identification of where I'm heading. Like that kind of thing right there. It's kind of a fun one. That'd be awesome if I could nail it. Yeah. Okay, now let's dig into some Q&A in the old chat box. See how you guys are doing this week. First off, Taylor, thank you for the 20 spot. Salute you, my friend. The beer money is most appreciated. Most definitely appreciated. And a little housekeeping. AndyWoodMusic.com. That store is getting a facelift very soon with now a lot of new items. A lot of new merch stuff is coming at you. Gonna be awesome sauce over there. We're gonna have backing tracks, tabs, all the things, shirts and hoodies and all that stuff is coming at you really soon. AndyWoodMusic.com. It's also going to have tour dates and things like that. We got Woodshed next week. Woodshed Guitar Experience. Now stay tuned. We might offer a couple of day passes for those of you that are in driving distance. Maybe can't commit to the whole weekend, but you just want to swing by for a day. We will be offering those. Probably going live tomorrow sometime. So Woodshed Guitar Experience next week. Super stoked about that. Going to be awesome to see you guys and hang out. And some of you 5-year anniversary guys, I've got some nice stuff for you. Just some little doodads and trinkets for you. What else? Was that all the housekeeping? If it's not, we could come back to it. Of course, if you appreciate the content here, this is free content for you. And if you want to keep the channel going, patreon.com/AndyWoodMusic. Let's that go along and lets it live. It gives this thing legs, right? So patreon.com/AndyWoodMusic gets you access to hundreds of videos and all the goodies there. Those Patreon members get the tabs and backing tracks, things of that nature. They already have it. So that's going on on Patreon. Now, we've got a lot of things coming up with the new record that I'm really excited about. Going to be on some very special friends' channels. And tonight I'm actually going to be a guest on Seth Rosenblum's channel, which is really, really awesome. So yeah, lots of good stuff. It's all flying around. Let's dig into that Q&A. That's enough housekeeping and salesmanship for right now. Let's just hit that Q&A. It looks like we've got sound working. Great. Getting more space between the notes rather than just running them up and down and playing them all. That goes back, Album, to the phrasing of things, right? If I'm looking to really build nice phrases. Just that right there is a much better phrase than if I were to go. It's, you know, just more musical playing it linearly. Right? Running it left and right up down the fretboard. Really, really good for that. Okay, so James saying altered pentatonics with added notes, superimposing pentatonics. There's absolutely limitless possibilities. That 1000% right. You know, that's kind of the idea for the tapping within Free Range Chicken. I kind of have that thing. Moving it around the different grips of pentatonic. Like that. Or sorry. Right, all those shapes. That's all like taking this or this and moving it into sorry. Getting those notes to not overplay in the left hand, that hand fatigue can really hurt you. Right. I mean, just trying to be clean. I'm not warmed up. Getting really clear definition across each one of those tap notes. And those are all pentatonic notes. There's nothing in there that's not a pentatonic note. Look, 7, 1, minor third, 4, 5, 7, 1, minor third, 4, 5, 7, 1. And it moves around the different permutations of that, right? Oh, sorry. And kind of this one's nice because it can be diagonal. And those, obviously, I love those Eric things. I like playing those same things. I like playing those things elongated as well. See how that works. Just adding in that flat 5 gives you a different sound. All kinds of nice ways to expand that thing outward. Keep pulling at those pentatonics. All right, Davis saying valuable info. Listen up to those new to the guitar. Dustin says, I don't know if this is a dumb question, but why refer to a pentatonic in its minor when we don't refer song keys in the same way. I think that's just a debate, Dustin, because I would most definitely say the song Master Gracie's Manor is in G minor. That's the cadence. It's there. That's it right there. That's most definitely in G minor. That song's not in B flat. Not to me, it's not. Let's play along with it. Let's just try to take a swing at it. It's a good one. A good challenge. I'd like to fall on my face right here for you guys. All right, not the worst take. Not the worst take. All right, so yeah, in that I'm moving those pentatonics around, just seeing how I'm moving through C minor. Right? All of that stuff's all through that thing. All through that thing. That's kind of like what we're talking about today. It's just getting the most out of your pentatonics and using them to unlock other doors. But Dustin's question was, why do we call minor pentatonic when we don't refer to keys in minor key? I do refer them as minor keys, but it just depends on the song, right? So Dustin says, when I was a real beginner and I was told the song is in G, I would think, okay, G minor pentatonic. That means that the song is like rock G. Or Yankee Rose. That's in the Vi stuff too. I mean, that's a fingering that I'm still working on. You could probably go get a really nice effect that way too. And just dig your way through it all. So like when I'm thinking of G major though, it's really about that third and that seventh, right? All of that kind of stuff is through that really major sound. That's where I'm going to be really into that major pentatonic thing, all right? Kind of major thing works really well through that. Okay, so Taylor, coming to you. Just want to say thanks for that charisma sheet music and for all of the free lessons you give every Tuesday. They've helped my playing so much, man. Thank you so much for that the kind message. It's really appreciated, and the 20 spot, the monetary support. I appreciate it, man. Favorite podcast of the week. Thanks, Thomas. We just come in here and hang out. I don't really consider it a podcast, just more of a hang, but here we are. Doing it live. That's the thing. Got to go live without a net, you know? That's really the thing that matters, is be able to play the tunes, you know? Adam Cave Project says, hi, Andy. FYI, my friend that's been at Boogie for 30 years says Randy was ready to retire. There's a private retirement program coming up soon. That's fantastic. I mean, legacy. That was last week's chat. So, Joe Ramirez, what are the intervals to get the faux steel guitar bends? Now, this guitar is not gonna be the right thing because it's got a tremolo. Let's get something that's got a hardtail on it. Get some of these single coil pickups rolling around. That's going to be the proper hardtail action that we need. Let me tune it up real quick. This is a lively guitar. I love it. Here we go. Okay, so when I'm looking at these pedal steel guitar bends, go to this clean channel. Those kind of sounds. The interval is going to be based around the third, you know, that kind of thing. Totally pedal steelish. Let's start with just this one. Let's put that on a different string set. We're going to have the 5 and the pinky. And this one. Okay, let's do another one where we're going to bend, let's bend backwards. Let's bend off this 5th. 5th to 6th. That one's around the 7th. So those downward bends are a little bit harder to get in tune, at least in my opinion, because you got to go so far with them, right? Especially those kind of sounds. All of that stuff is kind of starting around the 3rd, and that's where I would kind of aim at the kickoff point of that. And then moving around any scale degree in there. Nothing's really off limits, right? It's just your imagination and your grip strength that can get there. Will you sign my Strat at Guitar Summit? I'd be honored. I'd be honored. Gio says, what a beautiful song. Learning it at the moment. Thanks for the tabs via Patreon. See you in a couple of days, Guitar Summit. Yeah, Guitar Summit's going to be a blast. Jackson says, I've noticed over certain progressions that superimposing different pentatonic positions based on the chord sounds way nicer than just keeping the position 1. Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, absolutely. The things that I like, the way that I like to teach is kind of give you the tools to go out in the sandbox and start exploring and finding things that sound interesting to you. And for sure, moving things around the different positions, different scale tones or chord tones, right? And seeing how that affects the sound of the tune that you're playing over, right? That's, playing the changes, really. It's starting to get, into the jazz thing. Duke Fan says, how often do you think the pentatonic scale is used for solos? 90% of the time. I mean, 80 to 90% of the time. And if it's not just a pentatonic, it's the pentatonic is for sure a skeletal function within soloing. I mean, for sure. Absolutely. So, I hope today was a good look at how you can use pentatonics to improve your playing. And I hope there's just a moment of it where you can just rewind it and go, hey man, that's cool. I hadn't thought about doing that. And steal something that you can use to make your playing better. Because really at the end of the whole thing, like you want to be a better player for yourself, right? You want to do things that make yourself smile. And if you're not having fun and it's not rewarding to you, then sometimes we need a little nudge to get us going in a direction where we go, oh man, I hadn't really ever thought of that. And then you have some door that gets unlocked and you get over one of those humps. That's always the thing, right? It's the ebb and flow of being a musician and learning how to play an instrument. It's like you always hit those brick walls and you're looking for the thing to knock them down. And hopefully today you found a little something in there that can help you knock down a wall. And for you Woodshed members, can't wait to see you in a week. For you Patreon members, we're most likely going to move the hang from tomorrow over to Thursday. And I'll tell you why, because I'm going to go see Sammy Hagar and Joe Satriani in Nashville tomorrow. I'm really excited about that show. I cannot freaking wait to see it. So, Satch, man, playing Van Hagar tunes. Are you kidding me? It's going to be freaking awesome. So, we're going to move the master class that I do on Wednesday nights. We're going to move that to Thursday. For those that are unaware of what I'm talking about, I host a master class on my Patreon that's live via Zoom. So you can ask questions, engage, and Troy is in there. He can vouch for how cool the hangs can be. That is available for all Patreon members at the combo tier or higher. If you just go to patreon.com/AndyWoodMusic, you'll see it. Chuck's got it right there in the chat. Click on that. Join us on the Patreon. I'm sure I'll be living high on Satriani goodness and Van Halen goodness on Thursday. So that's going to be a delight. That's the masterclass on Thursday. And with that, kids, I bid you a happy week, happy picking, and hopefully the instrument, the music gets you some positive energy and positive vibes and provides a good place to hang out and explore across this thing, right? So with that said, love you guys. See you soon.